Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I was on my phone. I do apologise. Good morning. How you doing? How the devil are you doing this fine day? Good to be back in the warm, I have to say. But really good day out yesterday, I have to say. Uh, I have to say lots of things, apparently. For those of you that don't know, I was up at South and City College yesterday, up in Balsley Green, Birmingham, just around the corner from the Birmingham City football ground. Looking around their construction training facility, I guess. Carpentry, electricians, ground workers, house building, the whole gamut. And I have to say, I left there feeling slightly warmer about the whole fight against the skill shortage. Not because I don't think one college alone can actually cure it, but they're doing their best. They're doing their best. Met a couple of really fantastic people. Steve Duras would be one of them, and Andy Thompson as well. Andy was a former bricklayer who gave us the guided tour of the bricklaying, and a few other bits and pieces as well. Absolutely top-notch facility. I mean, on a par with any college I've ever been in, but yeah, dedicated to all things construction. One of the things that struck me is ironic. I mean, I went up there, I'm not being paid to go up there, just trying to understand, the skill shortage from all the angles. And one of the things that came out yesterday was the fact that the people that are trying to cure the skill shortage have a skill shortage themselves. We have a situation where construction obviously has been doing okay, not too badly, and lots of activity. I mean, this is Birmingham, so lots of activity around HS2 and everything else. So, as a result of that, lots of people in construction are earning a decent wage. As a result of that, none of them want to leave construction to go and become a teacher. So, as I say, they've got a demand for trainees and apprentices. They've got trainees and apprentices. But what they haven't got in some areas are people to actually do the training because they're too busy actually doing the job. Um, there, there, there does feel like there's a lack of joined up thinking somewhere along the line. I mean, at the point where, in order to become a trainer and therefore nourish the future generation, you need to take a pay cut. There's something going wrong there, isn't there? Just a thought. Now, let me go over to the chat. Who do we have? Chris Swords says, morning, guys. Anyone brazing this morning? It is very, very cold out there, isn't it? At one point, listen, I'm going to be talking about health at the end of the show, and this was not a health thing, but it did make me wonder. Did what I needed to do yesterday, and then I stood in the car park. Now, bear in mind, I had a jumper and a jacket on, but it was about 1 degree, I guess. And at one point, I was stood there chatting to somebody. Didn't want to make my excuses to leave because we were mid conversation. And I actually thought I was about to wet myself. It was that cold. I didn't, but dangerously close. Morning, peeps, from a wintry snow. You got snowing in Harworth, have you? Bizarre yesterday, and I must be out of practice. I was driving up the M40 yesterday, got to about Northampton, and it'd been raining literally since I'd left home, and it was fine rain and then heavy rain, and then I was literally sort of driving along, listening to a podcast as I often do, and I thought that's very large and slow-moving snow. Turns out the large rain rather, the large and slow-moving rain was in fact snow. I drove through about 5 minutes of snow. Didn't settle, but it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, as they say. Dan Cullen is here at 9:20. Gary Muirhead was here at 9:08. I do need to let you in on a little secret, though. Gary Muirhead was actually here 24 hours ago. He'd completely forgotten my warning that there was no show yesterday, and he pitched up anyway. What happens? What happens when you turn up at 10 o'clock and is there anything to look at? I don't. I've never done it. I'd love to know what you actually see when you get here. Dan Cullen is back in our midst. Good morning, everyone. He says, and apparently me too. Yes, he had turned up as well. I may do that. I may do that today. Let me remind you that there is no show tomorrow. I'll remind you now. I'll remind you tomorrow as well. There is no show tomorrow because I'm off up to the Institute of Demolition Engineers AGM. Gary says, how was the journey? Would it have been easier to get the bus? No, in actual fact, the drive up there was absolutely fine. The drive back, not too bad at all. No problem at all. I tell you what, though, just to show you how cold it was. Wife's car's got heated seats in it, so I'm driving along. I've got the heated seats on. I've got the feet warmers on as well, and anyway, after about an hour, it was like, bloody hell, it's cold. It's warm in here. Turned off the heater. About a mile later, it's like, nope, it's too cold. I'm putting it all back on again. It was that cold. Chris Hall says, see you all later. The 10 o'clock meeting beckons. How very dare they? Do they not know what's going on at the moment? Ken Hatcher is feeling the chill, as are we all. Good morning, all bleak up north. Well, I mean, it was only halfway up. I was only in the Midlands yesterday, but it seemed absolutely fine. Jim says, I'm glad to go into teaching plant operating and groundworks. I'd even put the land up for a live college housing site too. When I believe in something, I back it all the way. We need real site training. Yeah, absolutely. One of the, I mean, this is a minor thing, but we had a look around the plant training bit. Unfortunately, we did the plant training bit at a time when everyone was in lessons and stuff like that. But they've got a JCB JS 130 up there. They've got a Thwaite. I think they had two Thwaite stumpers actually. An electric JCB Mini. They've got a backhoe loader up there. You know, they're properly equipped. And I just very quickly, I did actually point this out. I went to college. When I left school, I went to college to study business studies. And I remember my college being quite rowdy, lots of shouting and hollering, particularly between lessons, but, even including lessons. It was quite loud and everything else. Walking around the college yesterday, and the students didn't know we were coming around, and I kept the camera on the QT and on the down low because I didn't want to film them, didn't want to upset anyone. I seriously, some properly studious people there, really was. And the other thing that I thought was listen, it's Birmingham. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised at that. The mix, the ethnic mix, fantastic to see. I think I mentioned earlier in the week that the current makeup of the UK construction industry, I think, is somewhere around about 12 to 14% female, but only about 6% ethnic minorities. The balance was completely the opposite in Borsley Green yesterday. It was completely the opposite. Still not as many ladies as I would like to see. But yeah, the gender or the ethnic mix was fantastic. And as I say, I was watching people doing carpentry and bricklaying and that kind of thing, and they were completely in it. I mean, you know when you see somebody just doing a thing that they really enjoy, that was what it looked like. So yeah, fantastic day out. So to Andy, Stephen, to Mike, who gave me the guided tour yesterday, massive thank you. Dan says it was cold, but I was thinking about you. Yeah, well, think about this. Tomorrow morning, I mean, I've got to leave here, got to leave my house at about 5:30 tomorrow morning, at which point it will be -4 degrees for me to go and jump on a train and then jump on a coach. Now, obviously, the coach will be fine. They'll have heating on that. I'll probably have a big coat on as well. But yeah, I'll be standing on a train platform at -4 tomorrow morning. Oh, the joys. Gary Muirhead says, yeah, I thought I was being smart yesterday. I had about 2 to 3 hours to sit and wait for Finnings to service the machine. Forgot there was no show. See that, Finning, if you're watching Finning, pay attention. Do this when I'm here, and then Gary can have a couple of hours up with couple of hours with his feet up, nice cup of tea in his hand or a cup of coffee, watch the show, and you can do what you need to do. That would be much better, wouldn't it? Ken Hatcher saying bachelor's a cup of soup, not as nice as Heinz. He says, I agree. I'm not a big well, in actual fact, I'm not a big soup fan unless it's Heinz. Yeah, Heinz tomato soup. Yeah, count me in. In fact, there is in my cupboard next door, sort of next door, there is a can of oxtail soup that I've got my eye on for lunch today. I'll let you know. Dan says, I'll call you to be sure you're on that train. Don't do that. I'm planning to walk to the train station about 4 minutes, still half asleep, so I can carry on sleeping when I get on the coach. I don't think that's the correct way. As many sites I've been on, multiple ethnic minority. I think it depends where you are. I think it does depend where you are. But as I say, the average that I saw, I'm sure it was, maybe I've misremembered it, but I'm sure it said 6%. It may have been 9, but whatever it was, whatever the mix is, the mix at Borsley Green yesterday was much different. As I say, really pleasing to see, because you know, we've talked about this before. People in general, I don't think this is just a construction thing. I think people in general have a temptation to hire those that look and sound like them. So if you've got an industry that is predominantly white, predominantly male, and predominantly heterosexual, then the chances are your workforce will be equally that way inclined. Whereas, if we could widen the net, take in a few ladies, take in a few ethnic minorities, take in a few gender fluids, taking a few neurodiverse. Yeah, listen, just open the gates and get the people in. Maybe we could help solve that skill shortage. But yeah, anyway, we've got loads to get through today. I want to talk about health later in the show, and just let you know, this is purely at random. I don't know how this has happened, but I'm glad it has. I wrote today's morning monologue day before yesterday. And yesterday, I got home from Southern City College to find that the government has actually issued a new initiative on men's health. Coincides perfectly, and I will be able to send you a copy of that report after the show today. Here's the weird thing. Gary says, you haven't tried proper soup till you've had Cullen skink. I've had Cullen skink and I'm a huge fan. I love anything haddock related, count me in. Anything smoked fish related, count me in. I was telling my daughter about Cullen skink no more than 2 or 3 days ago. And she said, what the hell is Cullen skink? And I said, it's soup. What's skink? And I said, I told her it was like a weasel and they make soup from a fairly sure she's still convinced that a skink is an animal and that they make soup out of it. Some people are just easily fooled, aren't they? Garvin, mostly diggers, just joined us over on Instagram. Definitely depends on the area of the country. Pretty sure there's only white folk on our site, and that's probably over 100 people. Yeah, and it is that. I mean, I do think, I think you get out into some of the rural areas, it does tend to be that way. So as a national average, maybe that 6% is right. But Dan and I, we're in the throbbing metropolis, aren't we? So I guess we do see a bit more of an ethnic mix on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, people, enough of all that. That's all beside the point. We've got other things to do. I'm going to roll the intro, and I'm going to get this show on the road like this. Yeah, just going to throw over to Instagram where Garvin just said the skink. This rare animal, the skink. Is it a cross between a skunk and a mink? It could well be. Do you know? I had a real fascination with sharks when I was younger. I went to see Jaws when I was way too young. Scared the pajamas out of me. Still scares the pajamas out of me now. But I developed a real fascination with sharks. And I had a book called Shark Attack, and it was actually done. The book was produced by the Shark Attack Agency in America, where they basically charted all of the attacks on humans by sharks, not just in America but around the world. South Africa apparently is a real shark attack hotspot, as is Australia, but also parts of America as well. And I do remember mink. Bizarrely, scientists had found an unusual or previously unknown species of shark, which that had died while they were capturing it, and they hauled it onto land to study it. And before they could study it and find out exactly what this new breed of shark was, mink ate it. See, you've sharks strolling around in the ocean, because you do stroll in the ocean, thinking they are the dog's doodahs. We are the apex predator. And then along comes a bunch of mink and eats your breakfast, or eats you for breakfast, even more. Yeah, I don't know how we got here. What have we got in the chat? Is this the same daughter that thought it was Lee Bear? Yeah. Dear, yes, it was. Absolutely was. Anyway, it is Thursday, the 20th of November. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the Walrus of Demolition, the Lord High Chancellor of live streaming. In today's show, how Volvo is building a cleaner future for us all, the long arm of Hitachi, Komatsu's quick change artist, and we're going behind the scenes to see Caterpillar's commitment to its Aussie customers down under. Plus, I've already touched on the fact that we're talking health today. My morning monologue today is called, it's got a lovely subtle name, it's called Death by Denial. Now, that's Denial. It's not death by that river. It's not death by the Nile. It's death by denial. Yeah, that's what it is. And Oil Quick Italy have just joined us. Buongiorno. I'm just saying that in Italian because that's all I've got in Italian. But good morning to Oil Quick Italy. Should we crack on? We probably should. What do we got? Oh yeah, let's start with a bit of Caterpillar, and then we'll go all things Volvo after. Now, lots of companies talk about their commitment to the environment, but I don't think any of them back that up quite as much as Volvo. I've been to see Volvo 2 or 3 times over the past couple of years. Also seen them at obviously exhibitions, but also seen them at racetracks and that kind of thing. And it really is. I'm not being paid to say this, but it really is now rooted in their DNA. This constant striving to be cleaner and greener. Let them explain.
At the heart of Volvo construction equipment lies a commitment to people, sustainability, innovation, and a rich history of pioneering progress. We have been at the forefront of innovations since we were founded in 1832. We empower individuals worldwide, valuing their skills, passions, and diverse perspective with a purpose to build a world we want to live in. Today, we have a network in every major market, stretching across 180 markets around the globe. As a global leader in construction solutions, we have a responsibility to continuously strive to find new, better, and sustainable ways of working by leading the transformation with premium products and services that combine business outcomes with care for people and planet for a better tomorrow. Through sustainable development, innovation, diverse and ethical conduct, we aim to be a leader in sustainable site solutions to create a safer, cleaner, and more connected world. Together with our partners and customers, we fulfill promises, earning trust and advancing towards our shared vision with quality and safety at the center and with people in mind. Every day, we choose to act on that cause for our and future generations. Not just because we can, because we want to build the world we want to live in.
Pretty good, right? I'd quite happily put my future in the safe hands of Volvo. Ken Hatcher, good video that absolutely is. Love the fact they've still got Gravel Charlie, the first dump truck made. Yes, they have. Seriously, I mean, I know it's a long way to go, and I realise when you're booking your holidays, maybe Eskilstuna in Sweden is not the first place that springs to mind. But if ever you get a chance to go to Eskilstuna, I mean, obviously go and pay a visit to Volvo, because why would you not? But the Monktail Museum, just up the road from the Volvo headquarters, is remarkable. And yeah, lots of representation from Gravel Charlie, some of the early tractors, right the way through Volvo's history, some of the early proper ADTs, right through Volvo BM days and so on down the line. So yeah, it really is. If you do get a chance, it's not the easiest place to get to. It's fly to Stockholm and then you've got about a 2-hour drive or whatever it might be. It's not the sort of place you'd stumble across, but if ever you do get the chance, I would strongly recommend you take advantage of that. What do we got? What have we got? Oh yeah, I just wanted to test something. While I was broadcasting just now, while that video was going on, my system was just updated to say that I've got new stuff that I can put on the screen. Most of it, or I think all of it actually, is supposed to be for Thanksgiving, because the platform I'm using is American owned. So I can have trick or treat. Bit late for that. Autumn corner, so Thanksgiving. Yeah, no, don't need that. No, don't need that. Thanksgiving. If we did Thanksgiving, that would be ideal. Candy pumpkins. No, not really. Turkey badge. That's a lot of crap, that is. I don't think I'll be using those again anytime soon. That could be a fantastic break. Steel Wrist Factory and Volvo Museum. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way to do it. Yeah, actually do it as a proper pilgrimage. Go and do both at the same time. Dan Cullen saying, "Oh, an update." Yeah, listen. The biggest update, which I have to say is going down an absolute storm, is over on Instagram, where we can now broadcast vertically. I wouldn't necessarily say it's given us more viewers, but the viewers we have on Instagram seem to be staying around for longer. I don't know whether it's because the vertical just works better. Maybe it's just a complete coincidence. Do you have the new hype button on your system for YouTube to help the channel? Probably not. No, because I play other people's videos, I kind of fall foul of YouTube. I think they basically tolerate me. They wouldn't encourage me in any way. So I've certainly not had a notification to say that I've got it. I'll have a check, but I don't think they'll allow it for the likes of me, because I kind of break their rules. Such is life. We're going a long reach in just a moment with the fine folks at Hitachi. Back after this.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
Dan saying, "Ha ha, Gary, are you having a laugh? Cullen skunk? No, not Cullen skunk. Cullen skink. It's a proper soup. I do remember. Although he's a fan, I think he may even sell it in his restaurant. I do remember watching an episode of Rick Stein talking about Cullen skink, and he'd been talking to a young Scottish lad who described it as Cullen stink. Terrible thing. Dan has never heard of it. What's the hype button? I think it's. I've heard about it. I've not really studied it. I think it's just a way to help promote your channel and get more people on board. And I don't know. And it's probably one of those you need to be of a fairly substantial size before you get access to it. I don't really know. I will check it out though. But I'll go and have a look in a moment after the show. Yes, I did say we're going long reach with Hitachi, and that's what we're going to do. Have a look.
We are currently on a spoil area doing a job for the United States Army Corps of Engineers. These areas, all these spoil areas up and down the coast, the intercoastal waterway, the dredging is used to deepen the channel for boaters, barges, all types of stuff that they use, and they take that spoil and we build these areas up, and they take the spoil out and put it in here. My dad started this company 40 years ago. He retired in June of last year of 2024. And I took over. I've been working with him since I got out of high school, so we're real familiar with this type of work, and he's been extremely successful, which has helped me, purchase things like this new machine to help our business grow even more.
Hitachi reached out to me and told me that they had a new long front, long reach excavator coming out, and being right here on the low country, that's a lot of the guys I know use long reach excavators, and First one I called was Mr. Corey Neely right here. We love like specialty equipment customers like Corey because they give us the opportunity to get out in a cool, environment and do work like this. So we'll support them in any way we can. Mr. Corey, he's he's hard to get to out here on all these islands. These places are always wet environments, and I figured he'd love that how it's got more surface area. It stands up to this wet environment pretty good.
As an operator, I've been running these things for a long time. Super, super smooth machine. Is super coordinated, super balanced with the 60-foot long reach, which is, to me, is probably the best one I've run for, is being balanced. Everything is really coordinated. When you reach out and come back in, everything works together really, really, really well. Probably the best that I've used as far as a long reach goes. It's really operator friendly, super comfortable to seat, super comfortable. Visibility out of the windows that I've noticed is really, really good. That style, it's a specialty type machine. So a lot of times we run them in soft areas, real soft ground environments, so you need to be well aware of, your surroundings.
The track space, the counterweight, and that beefed up boom, everything's solid. It's smooth, operates smooth. There's no rocking back and forth. I mean, you can work in it all day long. You can drink a cup of coffee as you're working and not have anything spilling.
Does anyone remember, was it Rolls-Royce used to claim that you could you could stand a coin on its edge on their engine while it was running and it wouldn't vibrate itself over? You can drink a cup of coffee in a long reach Hitachi. Who knew? Dan Cullen saying, thing about long reach, more to check, a lot more tension points. Yeah, I mean, it is pushing the machine to the extreme. Talking about the hype button on YouTube, I've only had a very quick look, but apparently I got it completely arse about face. Apparently, it is designed for the smaller creator. So, Jim, you're in with a shout, I think. Apparently, if you've got less than 500,000 subscribers, which is both you and I, Jim, I think you will be allocated a hype button. And basically, what it does, is, based on about 12 seconds of reading, is if people hit that hype button, it doesn't just share it, doesn't just like it. It basically flags it up to YouTube. This is a really good video, and if enough people hype it at the same time, you get pushed further and further up the leaderboard. It could actually help. I mean, I do wonder. Jim, I think you need to check if you've actually got access to the hype button, because as Gary said here, we really need to spread the word about Jim Turner's amazing channel. Yeah, I think we should. I wonder if we could do that in a strategic fashion. Jim and everybody else. Jim, if you do have access to the hype button, next time you upload a video, let us all know, and we'll all go and hit the hype button at the same time, and maybe that might just give you that oomph. Because, as Jim says here, I think I might be on for a Christmas address if I get 44 more subscribers. I mean, who wouldn't want to hear a Christmas address in Jim speak? I think you'll need subtitles for most of us, Jim, or at least for me, because I don't understand a bloody word you're saying most of the time. But yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we try and boost that? You could do the coin trick on the beam of the Watt steam engine at Popplewick's pumping station, and the beams weigh about 13 tons each. Wow. What should we do next? I know what we're going to do. Bizarrely, we're going back to Balmer. I know. I'll explain in just a
Since
moment.
the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Yeah, Balmer feels like an age ago. It was back in April of this year. And we worked really grateful to be working with Komatsu Europe. We produced a whole bunch of videos on a bunch of their new equipment. The new excavators, wheel loaders, dump trucks. We went up in the big machine as well. We did all of the things. If anything, we probably produced too many videos, because we hit them with so many that they've basically been leaking them out bit by bit. And the latest one, and probably the last one to be leaked out, is on a machine that or a system that I really do I am a fan of. It's the K100 quick change boom system for their high reach excavators. As I say, we filmed this back in April, but it's Komatsu have just released it, so ignore the fact that it's at Bauma. You don't have to, but ignore that. Just admire the technology.
Hello, my name is Simon Saunders. Welcome to the Komatsu booth at Bauma 2025. We're here today to look at the PC390 high reach demolition machine. One of the highlights of this PC390 HRD machine is the K100 boom connection system. First introduced on the PC490, and then last year we introduced it on the PC390 as well. The water spray dust suppression system and the automatic greasing system, which are fitted to this machine, are both integrated into these K100 connection joints. So even for auxiliary systems like that, the operator does not need to touch the boom when they disconnect or reconnect. Here we can see the faces of the K100 connectors. You can see that there's a group of stainless steel cartridges in the middle here. One of these is for the auto grease system. The others are for the oil pressure lines that feed the safety valves and so on the demolition equipment. And then we have the big cartridges around the valve block which deliver oil to the main power functions of the machine. The extended high reach configuration of the machine reaches up to 26 meters maximum height, and in that configuration the machine will carry a 2,500 kilogram demolition attachment. So we mentioned extended high reach reaching up to 26 meters. Part of that is this extension boom, which is 3 meters long. This can be used with either the high reach as it is today, or it can be fitted to the short digging boom. With the medium reach configuration, this means the extension boom and the digging boom, the machine will reach up to 15.5 meters maximum vertical height, and it'll carry up to a 4-ton demolition attachment. Let's have a look at the operator cab of this PC390 high reach. First of all, I'd like to draw your attention to the new control levers. We're introducing these for the very first time here at Bauma 2025. Reduced lever force and a much more comfortable and improved operation style for the operator. We've brought more of the functions of the machine onto the control levers themselves, so the operator doesn't need to take their hands off of the levers to operate some of the minor functions of the machine. We have a flick wipe function on both the front window wiper and the roof window wiper, all controlled by the buttons on these control levers. We've also introduced for the first time our ultra ergonomic armrests. These are multi-adjustable so that the operator can achieve a very comfortable and supportive position for their arms, even when the cab is tilted up to the maximum 30 degrees angle. We also have the familiar working range indications screen here and the main monitor panel where you can set all the flows and pressures for the demolition attachments fitted to the machine. It's been exciting for us to show you this machine at Bauma 2025. We hope that you all enjoyed the show as well.
Yeah, diggers and dozers handiwork. Dan says, strange in yellow. You know it's Komatsu, right? Not Kobelco. It's supposed to be yellow, right? Or am I missing something? This is why you need to watch Jim Turner's YouTube channel. First, he says, I put a video on dairy. Now, bearing in mind, he dabbles, obviously, over in the farming world. So I put a video on dairy, not grammatically great, but I was willing to go with it. He then came back and said, daily, not dairy. That would be milking it. Oh, well done, Jim. That is top work. That is top work. Did I not say Hitachi? I did say Hitachi about the previous video, but not that one. It was definitely Komatsu. Definitely Simon Saunders. Definitely Komatsu. Definitely Bauma. Definitely should be yellow. More after this.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everyone.
Just realised I haven't hit the merch button. I'm going to stop using that in the next, where are we? It's the 20th today. About another week of that we've probably got, and then I'll have to take it off because you won't be able to get the Christmas goodies before Christmas, so there won't be any point. May do something updated just to keep you up to date on all of that. We're heading down under, and she's back. Any word on Demolition? I think you're getting ahead of yourself there, Dan. Funnily enough, there is a new AI which will allow me to make Demi look way better than she does at the moment. I'm basically looking for the right opportunity to what do they do in Doctor Who? They respawn or something, don't they? Regenerate? Oh, I don't watch Doctor Who, but yeah, I think if anybody remembers, I think the original Demolition was actually a black lady, because I wanted to be as far away from me as a white bloke as possible. So I think I did a black lady. Then we had another one, which was a white woman with dark hair. Then we had the white woman with the short hair, with the glasses, and then we've got another one. I think we might be due a regeneration because there is a system. Look, it's not top secret. There is a new AI system by Grok, which I think is part of X or Twitter, and it is very good at generating characters. So I'm looking for an opportunity to give a new look Demolition a bit of an outing. We're heading down under right now for our final film, which is, I didn't realise it's quite a long one. It's about 6.5 minutes long. This is how Caterpillar are committed to their Australian customers way down under. I mean, in absolute truth, Caterpillar are committed to their customers around the world, but this is just how they do it in Australia.
My name's Cameron Balzat, and we're here at the headquarters for Caterpillar for the Australia and Pacific region here at Tullamarine, Victoria. This facility opened in 1955 and was one of the first overseas manufacturing facilities for Caterpillar in the world. So this was a motor grader manufacturing facility from 1957 up until 2010. And today, while this is Caterpillar's headquarters facility, we also have 25 other facilities throughout the region. And here at Tullamarine, we have over 30 different business units for Caterpillar, covering areas such as mining, construction industries, Cat Financial, global dealer learning, and most importantly, our parts supply and logistics businesses. Whether you're a large mining operation, a multi-generational earth-moving contractor, or first-time Cat machinery owner, our objective remains the same. That is to develop world-leading products and solutions that provide owners with the best possible quality, performance, and design. All of it backed up with world-leading parts supply and support through the Cat dealer network.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Day, Logistics Centre Manager at the Melbourne Distribution Centre here in Victoria, Australia. 22 years serving employee with Caterpillar. Have the privilege of running a 1 million square foot facility down here in Melbourne. Primary functionality is to really exceed customer expectations. Across this facility, we've got 150 employees. We work pretty much 2 full shifts. So a day's stock order shift and then an emergency shift in the afternoon. One of the key elements of our process here is our distribution network, not only here in Melbourne, but certainly in Asia Pacific, is to ensure that a customer can get a part within a 24-hour, 48-hour period. We have a search table, that if a customer's looking for a part out of Melbourne Distribution Centre, it's not available, then its next natural progression will be to look in Australia. So it would look at our Queensland Distribution Centre. If it can't search QDC, it will go naturally through the rest of the search table through the Asia Pacific region. So Singapore, China. If we can't get it through AP, Then we'll do a search through Europe and the USA. You place an urgent order on us, we don't have that part, we will source that part from anywhere in the world and try and get it to the customer within 24 to 48 hours. Automation within our operation allows us to move more product, more efficiently, more safely through our operation, meeting our customer needs.
My name is Nick Rankin. I work here at Caterpillar Financial in Tullamarine, Melbourne. I've been with the company for 8 years, and our role is to help our customers, dealers and Caterpillar succeed through financial solutions. I have a team of 13 people across Australia and New Zealand, and we are responsible for more than half of the machines that are financed across Australia and New Zealand. We offer loans, leases, insurance products to both our customers and our dealers to get our customers into the machines, make sure that they're working properly, and make sure that they get finance support, not just for the purchase of the machine, but for the parts, fluids, filters, rebuild. We also offer extended protection to make sure that machine is working for customers for as long as they need it. So one of the things that we like to do is make sure that we help our customers in the best way possible through using finance. And that includes being an expert in the industry. It's one of the things our customers love is that we understand the machines, we understand the industries that they work in, we understand that it's cyclical, and we like to grow with our customers. We've had customers where we've financed them their first machine and we financed their 40th machine. And we understand that it requires capital and it requires investment to continue to do that. And that's what we want to do, is to support our customers and our dealers in Caterpillar through that growth.
Hi, my name's Chris Davis. I'm the Melbourne Learning Centre Manager for Global Dealer Learning here in Tullamarine, Melbourne. I started at Caterpillar last century, and I've been fortunate enough to work across 3 continents with Caterpillar in a variety of roles, covering working directly with our dealers and our customers in the sales of equipment, support of equipment, even the design and manufacture of our equipment. So the Melbourne Learning Centre, we have a dedicated team of trainers who work together with our dealers and our customers, training technicians, leaders and salespeople alike to be able to sell, service our Caterpillar products and machines. The Melbourne Learning Centre has a long history of working with our dealers and developing young people. Our premier program is the Dealer Top Apprentice program. For the last 46 years, we've been working with the top apprentices from Australia, New Zealand and Indonesia in a skills competition that ranks them against each other, with the ultimate winner getting a trip to the US and for a training course of their choice, as well as a tour of the CAT facilities. We're really proud of this program and we love to see it continue for the next 100 years of Caterpillar. 2025 is a hallmark year for Caterpillar as we celebrate our centennial as a company. The machine I'm standing in front of at the moment is significant not only for Australia but for Caterpillar. This is a Holt 75, manufactured by Benjamin Holt Manufacturing Company in Stockton, California. The track drivetrain on this was later described as the Caterpillar drivetrain, and this combined with when CL Best and Benjamin Holt combined the company in 1925 was chosen to be the name of Caterpillar Incorporated. 1925 Caterpillar was formed. Very quickly after that, dealers around the world sprung up, with one of the first being here in Australia being William Adams in 1926. Caterpillar then, through various contract manufacturers, being Warren Josephson and then Steelweld, produced the Motor Patrol, which later went on to become the Grader. In 1955, the Caterpillar Australia entity was formed, and in 1958, the first graders shipped here from Tullamarine, with our parts facility also located on this facility. Motor graders were produced here until 2005, and then from 2005 to 2018, we produced a combination of off-highway truck bodies and on-highway trucks. Today, it is a parts facility for Caterpillar, one of the largest in the world.
Yeah, it's quite the facility, isn't it? And Jim has just said, saw a Holt 75 the other week. What a lovely machine. Yes, it absolutely is. There's something about that colour, isn't there? That it's not just the fact that it's grey, it's the fact that it's kind of weathered grey. I really do love that. One of the best companies I've found for finance, JCB Finance. We have plant vans, etc. Walked through them. Yeah, I've done a bit of work with JCB Finance in the past. Fantastic. Listen, I'm sure all of the major manufacturers have got a good finance outfit. But yeah, JCB absolutely exceptional. That pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to talk health in just a moment. Not mine, potentially yours. So I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into my morning monologue. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends and your colleagues. I hope to see you again very soon. I will remind you, no show tomorrow, no show until Monday. I'm up in Brum again tomorrow, so please bear that in mind. Gary, I'm looking specifically at you. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I will be back immediately after this. Back in August 2016, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I was also diagnosed with hypertension. That's high blood pressure to you and me. I'd had a few headaches, peeing a bit less than usual. I'd had a couple of bouts of dizziness as well. And on 2 separate occasions, I'd experienced heart palpitations. But at no point did I put 2 and 2 together. In fact, I was diagnosed only after I ended up in hospital for something totally unrelated. 2 potentially life-threatening conditions that only came to light after I got a whack on the head. Like many men, I've never really done doctors. I rarely take painkillers, and I used to go years without visiting my GP. I was always too busy, not quite sick enough until I was. All of which is to say that I know of which I speak. We aren't just playing fast and loose with our day-to-day health. We are potentially gambling with our lives. A recent study suggested that around half of all men in the UK are suffering from some form of an undiagnosed condition or disease. In construction, the levels are almost certainly higher. Construction workers have elevated rates of smoking, heavy drinking, hypertension, and are far more likely to be overweight or obese than workers in other industries. In fact, nearly 70% of construction workers are categorized as either overweight, that's about 48.3%, or obese, 21.8%. 1/5 of construction workers are thought to have metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that includes high blood pressure and high blood sugar. Meanwhile, the prevalence of pre-diabetes, 3.6% rather. Let me do that again. Meanwhile, the prevalence of pre-diabetes, 3.6%, and type 2 diabetes, 1.2%, is hitting younger men in this industry with an average age of 36.3 in one study. All of this is a recipe for disaster, putting demolition and construction workers at higher risk of severe chronic conditions like cardiovascular disease. And the problems don't end there. If you work in demolition and construction, you're statistically more likely to binge drink than workers in other fields. If you think throwing back beers after a shift is just being one of the boys, understand that drinking heavily makes aches and pains worse, creating a spiral of poor health. Your exposure to UV rays between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. puts you at risk for skin cancer. Skin cancers detected early can almost always be cured. Furthermore, demolition and construction work exposes you to hazardous dust, to fumes, to chemicals, increasing your risk of respiratory disease and cancer. You want to keep breathing and working, you need preventative screening. And on top of all of that, and on top of all the potential health issues that come directly or indirectly from your occupation, there are those that come simply with the passage of time. Testicular cancer is highly treatable if caught early, but you have to check yourself monthly and demand an examination from a doctor if anything changes. Ignoring a lump or pain isn't toughness, it's signing your own death warrant potentially. Men aged 45 and older need to talk to a healthcare provider about the risks and benefits of screening for prostate cancer. You should also be getting screened for high cholesterol at least every 5 years, especially if you're over 35 or at high risk for coronary artery disease. And while this is predominantly about bottoms and balls, the ladies don't get off scot-free in all of this. Women absolutely must prioritise regular breast screening. Early detection of breast cancer is critical for survival and successful treatment. If you're a woman, get yourself checked. And if you're not, tell the woman you care about to book their mammograms and perform self-exams. And just to reinforce that point, I attended a school reunion maybe 5 years ago. During the conversation, it transpired that 6 of my former classmates had passed away. 1 had been killed in a motorcycle accident. Breast cancer claimed the lives of the other 5. Now, the loudest excuse men use to rationalise avoiding the doctors is, I don't have time. You've got long, irregular shifts, and fitting a GP visit into that schedule feels impossible. You operate on a working equals earning mentality, meaning time off, even for health, means lost money. When you're self-employed, an injury or illness that forces you off the job for the average 5 or 6 weeks due to serious injury will decimate your income. But skipping needed medical care in the short run guarantees much bigger and more costly problems later. You'll end up with extended absences and reduced productivity while you're sick, which wreaks havoc on your financial stability and the firm's bottom line. And far more importantly, it could cost you your life. Now, I get it. You work in an environment that says toughness means enduring pain in silence. But that is outdated bullshit. The toughest thing you can do for yourself, your family, and your colleagues is to stay operational for the long haul. Your body is your most important tool. If you neglect maintenance on your equipment, it breaks down, costs money, and risks the job. Your body is no different. Ignoring pain or delaying medical consultation is professional negligence. True strength is, let me do that again. True strength in this demanding environment is measured by longevity, reliability, and the wisdom to protect your physical and mental well-being. Proactively seeking medical assistance is not a surrender. It's a definitive professional act of self-preservation required to sustain your demanding career and to secure your future as well. The responsibility rests with you to step up. Stop being a coward about a few moments in a doctor's office. Self-care is the highest form of professional resilience. So do it. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Get checked. Now. There you are. Now, a quick follow-up to that. As I say, it was purely coincidental. I wrote that day before yesterday for today. And between then and now, the government have issued a new... I can't even remember what it's called. It's probably on my computer here somewhere. Is it? Yeah, Men's Health, a strategic vision for England, it's called. I've got a copy of that, which I will put in the WhatsApp group. So if you want to know what the government are doing to safeguard your health, you can have a look at that. It's quite a big PDF. You can browse that at your leisure. But going back to the main point, get yourselves checked. Seriously, get yourselves checked. I mentioned it. I got a whack on the head on a demolition site. Won't bore you with that. You've all heard the story before. Had to go to hospital, and while I was in A&E, they said, you're diabetic. No. No, you are. Well, I'm not. Well, you need to go and get checked. So I went and got checked, and they came back and they said, actually, you are diabetic. You've got type 2 diabetes. And by the way, you've also got hypertension as well. So I'm basically on tablets for both. I'm on daily tablets, which keep both under control, and I'm hunky-dory. Well, I'm more dory than I am hunky, but I'm doing okay. But I discovered all of that by fluke. Now, bearing in mind, a couple of times I've never actually gone down through dizziness, but a couple of times, it's like the world's spinning. That was a sign. Heart palpitations. That was a sign. I had the opposite of, creeping age. Rather than peeing all the time, I was hardly peeing at all. That was another sign. But at no point did I think this could be part of a bigger picture. I just carried on and carried on and carried on. Oh, I'll get to the doctors one of these days. And when I finally got to the doctors on a stretcher, unrelated, they said, actually, you've got not one, but 2 potentially life-threatening diseases. And one of the things that really hit it home to me, after I'd been diagnosed, I have to go to the doctors every once in a while, and they've got a chart, like an electronic chart on a computer, that shows you your likelihood of having a heart attack. And given my high blood pressure, given my diabetes, given my lack of activity, lack of exercise, and my weight and everything else they calculated, I was a pretty strong heart attack risk. But by losing a bit of weight, I still haven't addressed the exercise bit. I'm terrible at that. But by addressing the high blood pressure and addressing the 2 diabetes, my likelihood of heart attack has diminished significantly. It doesn't mean I'm definitely not going to get one, because that's how men in my family tend to die. We have a big heart attack and that's it, game over. But I have actually seen, physical written evidence of you're that likely to have a heart attack. Actually, you're that likely to have a heart attack. Actually, you're only that likely to have a heart attack, all because of, the fluke of actually finding out that I had many things wrong with me. Going over to the chat. LC International have just joined us, the fine folks that represent both Sunward and Hydromek, a couple of fine brands as well. I'm offering my services for a free breast checking service, and I won't charge. Gary, next time I see you, you can have a feel of my boobs. There you go. Is that what you were after? Was it? What? You wouldn't want to be up my jumper, I'm telling you now. Dan, wow, that is a hard-hitting monologue. Thank you, Mark. I must go and get checked. Yes, Dan, you must. Listen, I don't want to air his laundry in public, but we have Jim Turner, who is he is missing a testicle because of testicular cancer. He's had one removed. Now, was he a regular checker? I don't know. Could it have been prevented? Again, I don't know. But frankly, I said it earlier in the week, I'm really quite attached to my undercarriage. I'd quite like to keep it, in the formation that it is at the moment. If that means I've got to have a bit of a poke around downstairs every once in a while and occasionally go and drop my me tackle into a doctor's hand, yeah, all right, that seems like a pretty good deal, I would say. Well done. Good morning, LC International. I do suffer from heartburn a lot lately. Dan, that was another one of my signs, funnily enough. All joking aside, I've always had a bit of a thing with heartburn, and there are certain foods that trigger it. Bizarrely, we mentioned tomato soup earlier. Heinz tomato soup, almost guaranteed to give me heartburn. Heinz salad cream, almost guaranteed to give me heartburn, but a bunch of other things as well. And I just, I used to chomp on Rennies or, have a glug of Pepto-Bismol or whatever the other one's called. And that would always cure it. Finally got diagnosed with my diabetes and my high blood pressure, started taking tablets. I literally cannot remember the last time I had heartburn, because apparently heartburn was a symptom. Get yourself checked. Get yourself checked. Take an hour off in the morning or whatever. Go and have a look. Go and get checked. Jim Turner says, if there's doubt, they lop it off anyway, then send it off for testing. There's something about saying lop it off in terms of testicles that makes me cringe a bit. I'm sorry, my ticket only covers me for checking the femur. Funny that. Yeah, funny that. Lucky old Christine, I would say. Lucky old Christine. Although I'm sure she'd be quite disappointed to understand that you're offering your services to a wider audience. Ladies, particularly those up in Scotland, if you do feel like you need a breast screening, Gary Muirhead is your man. I can't believe I'm encouraging this behaviour, Gary. You'll get me hung. You really will. People, I need to remind you, no show tomorrow. No show whatsoever tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday. And again, it's going to be another short week, and I apologise in advance. I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, and then I'm at a funeral on Friday. So it's going to be another short week. However, I've almost finished my video with a guy called Kevin Soller, who is a Menzie Muck operator up in the mountains of Colorado. That's coming down the line. If I can, I may actually have that ready for Friday. So rather than watching me, you can watch him, or you can watch me talking to him, if you get my meaning. I may do that for Friday next week if I can get it done in time. I've also done a film from yesterday, a couple of interviews and a bit of a poke around in Southern City College. I'll be doing that one very soon as well. I'll probably do that over the weekend, I would imagine. So plenty of stuff coming down. Jim says, it feels like you've been tracked over after the op. I remember my dad having a hernia operation. And I mean, literally sort of coming home from hospital. And he was sitting on a rubber ring. And my dad was, I never saw my dad naked. Not that that's got anything to do with anything, but my dad was quite, a private sort of person. He was quite Victorian in his ways. So, as I say, I used to sort of sit on the toilet and talk to my mum while she was in the bath when I was a kid. Never did that with my dad. But my dad actually pulled down his pajama bottoms, hoiked his tackle to one side, and he was black and blue. I mean, it was literally like, okay, he's asleep now. Before we fix his hernia, let's kick his bollocks for a bit. Yeah, he was black and blue, so I can only imagine what that feels like. But having said that, would I rather feel like I've been tracked over, or would I rather be dead? Yeah, track over, I would say, every time. I've still got things I want to do. I'm not quite done yet, and I've got a family to take care of. So yeah, if I'm given the choice between feeling like I've been tracked over or not being here at all, I'll take the being tracked over. So please go, guys and ladies, if there's any watching, go and get yourselves checked, would you? It is important, and I'm not just saying it. I've been there. There is every possibility. I'm 60 years old now. My grandfather on one side made it to, I think, about 64. The other one made it to 62. So, I could well be in danger territory by now, if somebody hadn't whacked me on the head with a brick and then I found out. Yeah. No pain in the scrot, he says. It's above where they cut you. What is that? I don't know quite how to put this in a subtle way. Have you ever been kicked in the knacker? There is like the initial pain in your plums, but then after that, all of the pain seems to be in your stomach. What's that about? I remember being at a party once when a fight broke out, and somebody took a really good kick to the plums and was violently sick. Why would that happen? Is that are your bits attached to your gag reflex or something? I don't know what that's all about. Up near your waistband area, then yank it up and out. Oh, is that where they cut you? I just assumed they'd go in through the goodie bag. I can't believe some of the phrases I'm using here. I just assumed they'd snip your sack and hoik it out there. Up by your waistband? Surely that's going the long way around, isn't it? I've got a bad toe. Yeah, all right, we'll go in via your neck. The hell? Dan says, have a great weekend. A great day and a lovely weekend, guys. Stay safe, stay happy. Hug your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Hug yourself. Hug yourself on the way to the doctors. Go and get. Do you know one of the best things about ending up in hospital? There aren't many, but the one good thing about being in hospital, after I had the whack on the head, and I had the op to fix my eye and various other bits and pieces, I had to go for MRIs and scans and Lord alone knows what else. By the time I left hospital, I'd had a thorough MOT. Never felt healthier in my life. They checked my heart, they checked my liver, they checked my kidney, checked everything. And they basically said, take these tablets, do this, do that, and you'll be dandy. Never felt healthier in my life. I'd recommend it. Yes, cut up near the waistline because that's where the tubes route around. Do they? Good Lord. Yes, I used to get a few kicks in the lower extremities, got sick, had to go to the doctors, and was not good. No, you don't. Listen, regardless of the sickness, you don't want to get kicked in the lower extremities. Listen, ladies, I'm sure you're delicate as well, but I do remember when I was about maybe 14 or 15, that one of the things that me and my mates used to do to each other, you'd be talking to them and you just give them a flick on the ball bag. You could double somebody over literally with a flick. What's that about? Are we not the victims of a made design fault? You've got something that is responsible for your reproduction capabilities. It's obviously a very, very delicate, very sensitive, very pain-sensitive part of the body. So why leave it dangling about the place? Could God, in the ground, would you not have been better off tucking it away, like putting it in a hard shell, like a tortoise? Would that not have been a better idea? Just saying. Took 2 years to get back to normality after I was kicked by a cow. Fuck that hurt. Listen, I've been kicked accidentally and otherwise. I used to get a kick in the knackers every once in a while playing football, and I mean that was it. It's game over. You got one. You've only been playing for a minute, and you get a kick in the balls. You may as well just be substituted off. You ain't coming back from that. But yeah, being kicked by a cow, that's a whole other game. Because they need to stay cool. Air conditioning, God. Plumb in some air conditioning. Don't leave the things hanging about the place. Somebody called Brian Sharma has just said, "Hey there, are you offering a job?" Brian, I'm sorry, but I'm not. No. This is what I do. And frankly, one person doing this is probably too many. I could probably just switch this over to AI and stay in bed in the morning. So no, I can't offer you a job, my friend. But if you're looking at the chat, there is a guy here called Dan Cullen who runs a bunch of WhatsApp groups trying to find people employment. So if you want to get in touch with Dan Cullen, he is over on YouTube at the moment. And there you are. There is Dan actually saying, "Brian, get in touch." If you want his what have I got? His WhatsApp details. Let me know privately, and I'll fire those over to you. But Brian, I can't help you, but Dan may be able to. And on that note, what was the cow's name, and did you call the police? Dear. Who was the assailant? It was black and white, big, cow-shaped. Answers to the name Daisy. And there's Brian saying, "Okay, so yeah, fantastic. Brian, drop me a line after the show. You're on Facebook. Do the same there, and I will get you in touch with Mr. Cullen." And Gary, apparently, was a cow called Betty. Betty of the ball bag. Brilliant. Guys, go and have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic weekend as well. I'll see you again on Monday. Till then, everybody, look after yourselves, particularly your health. I mean, look after yourself generally, but look after yourself health-wise. Go and get yourselves checked. See you soon.